Hello and welcome to Trashy Trashy, where we take a dumpster dive on this week's garbage people and a look at all the trashiest news stories. My name is Erica and I am your host.
My name is Cassandra and I'm your other host. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Slow morning this morning for me.
Yeah, we are recording an hour and a half after we said we would.
Whatever. I mean, we had a nice chat. We both took some text messages. We both talked about their respective text messages.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes you got to have a little chit chat before you just get into it because we're friends.
We're friends. This is like some of our catch-up time.
Doy.
Oh my goodness. What have you been doing all week?
Working out to try to curb my depression towards my job.
Good.
Did you want an honest answer? Because you got it.
Yep.
I bought new bras at Target yesterday. That was a highlight. I have a lot of cleaning that I need to do because my partner's out of town this weekend, which means he's been out of town for since he left for work yesterday. So it's been a little over 24 hours and I have managed to make our place so fucking cluttered and filthy and covered in dishes. Like, I don't know what happened.
It just explodes sometimes.
And I don't like clutter and dirtiness. I really don't. But I think that, because I'm going to clean it for fucking sure. It's just almost like I don't have that image to maintain for another person, it's see as I, do as I say, not as I do. So with him not here, it's I can maintain the fact that I don't like clutter, but I'll get to it when I get to it, whereas when he's here, I'm I need to lead by example so that he fucking knows. And vice versa.
I had a roommate that once told me cleaning is like a game of chicken. And I was like, oh, that explains everything about you.
Yeah, because that's not good.
That's not good. Cleaning is a game of chicken. And I was like, well, I'm always going to cluck first. So this isn't going to work.
Because I'm not trying to get roaches. Yeah. What did you have? What?
I saw in the parking garage across the street from my apartment a rat.
Ooh.
When I texted my partner, I was like, we have to move.
Oh my God.
And he's like, why? And I was like, yeah, I saw a rat. And he's like, not in the apartment. And I was like, no, but near us. And if you see one, there's 100.
Okay. Here's the thing. I feel like I have numbed my senses to rats at this point because all those beautiful fences that are covered in ivy that everyone likes to take Instagram pictures in front of or has in their backyards. We have one in the alley. It's, oh my God, what a beautiful view you have outside of your balcony, even though it's an alley. But this one's nice because look at all of the ivy. Bitch, those are full of rats. So
no.
Yes, they fucking are.
Oh my God.
Anytime you see a beautiful, green fence or something, just know you're in proximity of a rat king.
So it's they used to say you suffer for your art, and now it's you suffer for your Instagram.
Exactly. Which, I mean, I've seen your Instagram. That shit is art.
Thank you. I feel like instead of growing followers, I steadily lose followers every week with the content that I post. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
I don't know how to get followers. I kind of have let it go. I really have. I've been sitting around the same number of followers for a really long time that at this point, if I had a sudden uptick, I would be nervous. So, I'm happy with it. I have in my audience, I think according to the algorithm, maybe only 130 of the 800 or so people who follow me even see me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever have people though that you follow on Instagram and then immediately regret following?
Yes, and you can't just unfollow them. It's a social contract.
Especially if they had to approve you.
Oh, that's the worst.
Because then you can't just go back and like, oh, so then you have to mute them. I've had that with a couple of people in high school, or like people who have like gone on like maybe 1 or 2 like internet dates, like a Hinge dates or something, Tinder dates. Whereas like it was good enough that like you start following them and then it kind of fizzled out, or like worse, it's like 5 or 6 dates and then you decide, you know, this like, you're nice, you're great, but I don't like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you still fucking follow each other because it's just weird. I mean, what's up with that? But I do it.
I one time went on a first date with a musician, booked him to play on my comedy variety show.
Oh, wow.
Didn't like him, and then let my co-host, like, I didn't show up to the show. Because I was like, I don't want him to think there's a second date. We just needed a musical act. So I'm a piece of shit.
Whoa.
They still follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, it's just like I see them in my stories and I'm like, do you remember who I am? I barely remember you.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't unfollow.
Mm-mm.
There are people who are stronger than us who are listening to this going, yes, you can, but I don't know.
Well, why are you trash this week?
Well, I did something yesterday that I like to call the takeout sprint.
Okay.
I don't order takeout very often. If I'm ordering takeout, it might be a cry for help because I'm fucking too lazy to cook or something. Or I'm too lazy to go and pick it up myself. Like I'm getting delivery. So there I am, and the delivery person calls and says, I'm here. And I'm like, okay. And I have to run to the front of the building to get my takeout. And it's 3 p.m. And I'm still in sweats with no bra. So the takeout sprint is, you start it by taking too long to look for your shoes. So you're like, fuck, like this person's just standing out there. And then when you finally locate your sandals, which hurt your feet because you have plantar fasciitis for some reason, you start running down your hallways and you've got one hand holding down your bouncing braless titties and one other hand holding up your busted ass old pajama sweats that you should have gotten rid of. And that's the takeout sprint.
Perfect.
It looks like shit. Like I was literally doing it being like, I don't have to run right now, but I do because he's been waiting. And then I finally got to him. Like I stopped running like before I was going to get in the view of the front door, you know, so because I didn't want him to know. And I was like, sorry, it took me a second. And he was like, no problem. And he stared at me for too long. And I was like, well, I'm not wearing a bra right now, so whatever. But then I got takeout for a second time yesterday. As I said, cry for help. And then the other takeout guy stared at me for too long. And I had a bra on at this point. So am I beautiful?
Yes.
Am I stunning with these takeout people? Like just stunned by my beauty?
Absolutely.
Or do they know that I takeout sprinted to them? I don't know. Why are you trash?
Okay, so I famously hate therapy.
You don't hate it as a concept.
I don't hate it as a concept. I hate doing therapy, and I jokingly hate my therapist.
Jokingly.
Just because she makes me do the work, and I don't want to do the work. And I may have fibbed and said that my Wi-Fi wasn't working, so we couldn't do a video call. And I have therapy at 8 a.m. on Thursday mornings. That's early to do it.
Yeah.
And I put on my headphones and I laid in bed and I started the conversation. And then when I tell you there were pauses of like 5 minutes of this therapy session, like it was, I brought up a pretty heavy topic. And so I just didn't talk that much. And then she would be like, it's heavy stuff, or it's a lot to think about. And I'd be like, yeah. And I'm pretty sure I was like falling asleep in between these sessions of her talking.
Wait, so she would talk for 5 minutes? Or was 5 minutes of dead air?
5 minutes of dead air. And I was like, that's
What?
fine. I'm resting.
Wait, 5 minutes is a really long time.
It was at least 2, possibly 5.
And she just let you do that shit? She must have thought, oh, wow, she's just crying.
Uh-huh. She just let me have it this week. I laid down my entire therapy session and might have fallen asleep in between her talking.
Oh my God.
That and it's like a $20 copay for me. So I feel like, oh, that's nothing. Like it should cost me more for me to value it.
I'm like, how much does this shit cost you? Like, you're paying a lot of money for a nap.
$20. So it's like it doesn't feel impactful.
That's an interesting like tactic though, to bring up something really hard and say I really need advice on this, and then like drop a bomb, and then because you know that they'll have to talk for a while, and then you can kind of just zone out
and just lay down. Anyway,
God, you really, you need to get another therapist.
I know. Oh no.
There are therapists who can make you do the work and also keep you engaged in the scenario where you're not going to want to do that.
We shall see. If anyone's listening has a good therapist recommendation that will take my $20 copay, let me know. Because now that's like the most I want to pay for therapy.
Oh, God.
And I fully realize how privileged this is, and that most people, it costs them a lot more. Anyway.
For what it's worth, I love therapy, and I really recommend it for everybody. And Erica's experiences are the exception, not the rule.
100%. I'm an outlier.
That's a disclaimer. We need to make sure our trash cans have outlets.
Do therapy. It's great. You can get a nap in.
Stop.
No, don't listen to me.
Oh, you know who was listening?
Oh, yeah? Our first story?
Uh-huh. From the NewYorkPost.com, a bishop quits church after falling in love with a satanic erotica writer. Ooh.
This church official has chosen corsets over crucibles.
Whoosh. A Spanish bishop, not the, I'm sure there's a lot, but he's known for supporting gay conversion therapy and performing exorcism, but he decided to leave the Roman Catholic Church after becoming smitten with a writer of satanic erotic fiction, Sylvia Caballol. Man, gay conversion therapy and performing exorcisms. Yikes.
Yep.
Don't like that. Don't like this guy.
The ex-bishop, Xavier Noville, according to a report by the BBC, has, quote, "I've fallen in love and want to do things properly," they said.
So there's widespread media attention, and this 52-year-old's decision has also led to much internal criticism within the church. Some of his former colleagues told the Spanish media that they believe that Noville is to be possessed by demons. Well, that's that checks out. So the situation is not a problem of celibacy, but rather of infestation.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. He was considered a rising star in the church, being one of the youngest bishops at the age of 41 in 2010.
Ugh, bishops sound old.
Bishops sound old as hell if a rising star is 41.
How did he get his hands on one of these books?
So let's see. Oh, he admitted that in an interview that his infatuation was not the first of its kind. Before becoming a man of God, he fell in love and wanted to marry an 18-year-old girl. And the writer's titles include Hell of Gabriel's Lust and the trilogy called Amnesia.
I mean, what a lucky guy, though, that, like, he gets to hook up with the actual writer.
Yeah, I mean, who wrote 50 Shades of Grey? Was it not Stephanie Meyer?
No.
That's who wrote Twilight.
It's something Stein. I feel like I just had this conversation. Was it on this podcast, my other podcast, or Life?
Must have been Life or your other podcast.
Who wrote 50 Shades. It's like something Stein, like L. It's not R.L. Stein. That's oh, fuck. You know what I mean?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. E.L. James. Okay, I was just wrong.
That'd be like, hooking up with E.L. James and then being probably fairly disappointed.
Why do you think you'd be disappointed?
I just don't think E.L. James has it in them. I'm just gonna say that. I feel like they write fantasy and fiction, but like when it comes to what they do, I bet it's pretty missionary.
Wow. Well, I have a feeling that I'm not going to speculate on this bishop's sex life, but how crazy could it be,
Speaking of how crazy could it be, let's get into our next story. Sent in by Elise in Nashville.
Hey, Elise in Nashville.
The maker of our website.
Woo! Have you been to the website? It's very cute.
Which is www.trashytrashypodcast.com.
Mm-hmm.
Cookeville man cuts off penis while being chased by police.
Why?
Yeah. Like, why would that be an option? Like, A, why are you being chased by the police? And B, why do you have a knife so close to your penis?
So law enforcement officers encountered a bizarre incident on Wednesday as they were led on a 2-county pursuit from Dowelltown to Lebanon on Highway 70. And what they learned was that 39-year-old Tyson Gilbert had severed his own penis and tossed it out of the car window somewhere along the route, either before or during the chase. He said that he heard voices on his car radio telling him to commit the act in order to save the world. You guys, how much do I have to say? There are time travelers among us, and they are the people we are covering in these stories.
And they're saving the world by cutting off their penises.
You ever seen the butterfly effect?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
I mean, God told Abraham, Isaac, to kill his only son, and then even he said, just kidding, right beforehand. So I don't think that you should listen to those voices, because they're just going to tell you not to do it.
Why do you have to make everything about God, Erica?
Sorry. I'm just, and I can't even remember who it is.
I think it was Abraham. I don't know. That one, I think, is a bad one, right? And it would be bad to kill your son. Who knows? I'm not talking about Jesus here. I'm talking about this guy who cut off his dick.
When I pulled up behind him and turned on my lights, he took off and refused to stop. He was all over the road the whole time. He turned off Old Liberty Road and came to a stop. He opened his door. He was naked and covered in blood. He then shut the door and just kept on driving, said Trooper Johnson.
I mean, they ended up taking out spike strips and shit. Like, it didn't slow him down at first, but then he ended up driving all the way to his rims. And look, I love a car chase, okay? But just like as a taxpayer, not a taxpayer where this happened, but as a taxpayer in general, if the person you're chasing cuts off their dick, I'm going to save everyone some time. One person, a couple cops, you guys stake out next to the dick on the side of the road. Everyone else stake out at like the nearest hospitals within 200 miles. If you don't catch him at one of those locations, either where his penis was or at one of the hospitals, just let him go, because he's probably dead or like getting some very like undercover like surgery or something. I don't know, but like just let him go, you know?
He suffered enough is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, like, you're paying taxpayer money to like help this time traveler. Like, he'll just drive himself to a hospital if he wants to get help. Since when did the police have any regard for human life? You know?
Oh my gosh. Speaking of regard for human life, our next story is sent in by Garrett Handranastis. And this is from my university's editorial column, the O-Collie from Oklahoma State University. And it's a column written by Madison Ferris, the editor-in-chief. And she says, enough is enough.
So this is an opinion piece.
A complete opinion piece. She was kicked out of her classroom for not wearing a mask. And she asked, is this really what Oklahoma State has come to? And basically, a professor, she walked into class without a mask. A professor asked her to wear the mask and even offered her one. And she said no. She said her heart was pounding and she was confused. She'd done her research before class. And Senate Bill 658 informed me that a mask could not be required within a school setting in the state of Oklahoma. Knowing this, she decided to take a stand. Now, this is all bullshit. And what this article does not go on to say is that the professor was recovering from cancer.
Oh my God.
And is like immunocompromised and can't get vaccinated, and asks his students to wear a mask for the 50 minutes that they would be in class.
So the editor-in-chief of this Oklahoma Ocali newspaper is an anti-masker. And she wrote, others have asked me, why don't you just wear a mask for a couple hours? Why can't you just deal with it instead of making it a problem? Here is my answer. If I believed it was just a mask, then of course I would simply wear it for an hour or two and go about my day. But it's more than a mask. It's control. Control over my choices, desire, and body. I will not allow any institution to take away my right to decide for myself what is best and make my own decisions. Bitch.
Anyway, I fired off a fiery email to the editorial board at the Ocali. Yeah. Woo! And I pulled as an alum, as somebody that has attended this university, I called them selfish. I said, I'm disgusted by your approach. The professor is recovering from cancer and is immunocompromised, and that it's not about control, it's about being considerate, and that their lack of maturity is embarrassing. I said this to a college student. Now, am I proud? Not necessarily, but I fired off an email in the moment.
Yeah, it's not like you said this to a high school newspaper. These people are adults.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, I fired off a rebuttal email.
I love that. Good for you.
You know who I didn't send a tweet or rebuttal email to?
I wish you would have. According to mediate.com and like everywhere, if you're on Instagram, Twitter denies Nicki Minaj was suspended, and the White House denies that she was invited to discuss enlarged testicles. If you don't know what's going on, Mom, the rapper Nicki Minaj, she tweeted saying some anti-vax stuff, mostly like falsehoods, because she didn't necessarily say like you shouldn't get the vaccine. She just was like, I'm just telling you guys what happened. And so she says that her cousin's friend. Oh, yes. Her cousin's friend who lives in Trinidad got the vaccine, and then his balls got big. Like, and his testicles became enlarged.
And that he became impotent because of it.
And that he was going to get married, but then when the fiance found out about his big non-functioning balls, she canceled the wedding. So Nicki Minaj used that anecdote to say, just saying. Basically.
Don't be bullied into taking the vaccine. Do your own research.
Because if you get bullied into taking the vaccines, your balls might get big, and then your fiance might cancel your wedding. So, you know.
Your cousin's friend may have to do this.
So
Trinidadian health officials had to declare a press conference and say, we have not heard of this. This, like, no way is this true. And no one has reported these symptoms. Like, they had to spend government money to dispel these untruths.
He even says in the press conference that they wasted so much time, like, looking into this.
Yeah.
Just to be thorough. So she says that she was suspended from Twitter on Wednesday, and Twitter's like, no, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
I mean, Twitter should have said, you saw how long it took us to suspend Trump. You think we're going to suspend your stupid ass for this? And then Dr. Fauci, you know, our daddy in the White House, said that this was a baseless thing, and that there is no reason to imagine that that would happen. But don't worry, because Fox News host Tucker Carlson was happy to cover it and tell everyone who watches Fox News about it in a like way of like, so here you go. So basically like pushing these false claims, which I'm like, why has no one dug up on the internet like a time where Tucker Carlson has like most likely called Nicki Minaj disgusting or something like that?
Oh, yeah. And like Tucker Carlson is vaccinated.
Yeah. Is he?
And, yeah. All of Fox News staff has to, like, it was mandatory.
Well, I don't think that the people at Fox News believe what they're peddling, which is fucked up.
So the claims that she was invited to the White House, a White House official told Mediate that they had offered to speak with her via the phone, as with we have of others, and one of our doctors to answer questions she had about safety and effectiveness of the vaccine, the White House official said.
The White House just basically has like a hotline full of doctors to talk to people. And so Nicki Minaj took that to mean that she was going to speak to Biden himself. And they're like, no, just this like hotline that we are providing.
Uh-huh.
It's a bad look. Like it's a really bad look. And I don't like it.
Mm-mm. If you find yourself being the hero in one of Tucker Carlson's stories, like you got to take a look in the mirror.
I mean, she had a lot of fans being like, "Look where your tweet got you." Like this isn't the Barbie we love. This isn't Nicki Minaj that we love.
Right.
And I think it's like it's an irresponsible use of a gigantic platform. Although it's at this point, I don't even know like who's calculating shit and who's not, because I don't like people don't really talk about Nicki Minaj anymore. She's been kind of replaced.
Well, she wasn't invited to the Met, or she was invited to the Met Gala and allegedly couldn't attend because she wasn't vaccinated. And everyone at the Met Gala had to be vaccinated.
I mean, but did this happen before or after the Met Gala?
I think it happened like the day of, and everyone's like, why isn't Nicki going to be there? And it's
wow.
It's like, A, were you even invited? But B, she couldn't attend because she wasn't vaccinated.
You know who I wouldn't invite to a party?
Ooh, the subject of our next story?
Yes, from rollingstone.com/culture features. I just wanted to say more. Tech bro, TikTok influencer claims that he makes cash snitching on strippers to the IRS.
A TikTok creator with more than 800,000 followers is encouraging people to harass sex workers under the guise of education.
I get stripper talk on my algorithm, and I love it.
Me too. It's great.
Like, stripper talk, by the way, is not just women stripping. Stripper talk is when these women who, work as strippers for a living show off how much money they make. And it's fucking incredible. Like, and good for them. Because what they do for a living is not an easy job.
Nope, not at all.
I think that they earned it. So there was one that went viral that I actually saw where this, woman shows off that she'd made $33,700 in a weekend. She said that she had a really good night the third night. And people were commenting on her page, and people were saying that they were going to report her to the IRS because fucking people can't just like let strippers or any women ever just have money without having to chime in. And you see a woman who dances for a living and everything that a stripper has to do. Hold on.
It's maintenance to be a hot person.
Yeah.
And that's a hot person career.
Yeah, and like to wear those shoes, that's not good for your back. I mean, look, whatever. Anyways, I don't have to get into it. The point is that why aren't you mad at billionaires and reporting billionaires to the IRS? Why are you mad at this woman?
They're not paying taxes.
Yeah, why are you coming after this woman who earned $33,700 worth of cash? Like,
and strippers pay taxes. She earned it. Well, in the video, he tells his followers that you can report anyone and earn 30% of their money if they're not paying taxes. It's just business, baby, he concludes.
Yeah, I guess that there's this part of like the IRS called the whistleblower office that's like real, where they do like they'll let you take some of the income if you can accurately report at the IRS. The only thing is that like the fine print of this is someone needs to be making over $200,000 a year, and you need to have evidence, like hard evidence, like fucking Bezos's personal assistant could maybe do this, but like some random asshole on TikTok who's mad because a stripper made a lot more money than you, like you don't know anything about her, bro. You can't just do that.
100%. Like you have to have evidence. Strippers do pay taxes. They pay a lot in taxes because they're independent contractors. They have to pay out to the clubs. It's not like they just go up and dance in like a vacuum. Like that's how the government gets you, is not paying your taxes. Like they know that. They report their earnings.
Yeah. So this guy who's on TikTok, his LinkedIn says that he's a software engineer, and he's the founder and CEO of a app called Study Tree, and has participated in the TechCrunch Disrupt Hackathon. So he's been appearing to actively cultivate a following among aggrieved men on TikTok.
A female TikToker posted a video about him with the caption, "Worst date ever with a TikToker," documenting how he brought his own pool cube to the first date and asked her to buy him a drink before leaving.
Look, I think that it's weird to bring your own pool cue to a first date. However, it wouldn't bother me as much as someone then confidently asking me to buy them a drink, because that just like directly makes me think, oh, you read that book by what's that guy's Mystery? You know, that the pickup artist?
Oh, the pickup artist?
Yeah. Like, oh, you read that guy's book. Because remember they gave that guy a fucking TV show for a second?
Yeah. Yeah, it's awful.
It's just him parading around like with a top hat and fucking sidecar glasses, like asking women like, hey, your shoes are ugly, like buy me a drink. And like men everywhere were like, oh, that's how it works.
I don't get negging as a concept. Like, which is when negging is when you are mean to someone on purpose to get something from them.
Yeah, like even if it has like a certain success rate, you're gaslighting someone and you're getting success for the wrong reasons because you're being mean. It's control.
100%. It's wild.
So he posted a rebuttal to that TikTok saying, boys, it's no simp September. I don't care what you look like, how good looking you are. If you're going to compete with me, I'm going to win. Like and follow if you're not a simp.
Can you explain what a simp is?
I sure can. The dictionary meaning for simp is a silly and foolish person, but the Urban Dictionary definition of simp is someone who does way too much for a person they like. So when you're simping for a girl, it means that you're crushing hard on someone who may or may not like you back to the point where your actions can seem a bit pathetic. That is kind of a harsh definition.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, I think being a simp is being emotionally available and trying hard for someone that you like.
Okay. So just like somewhat being in a healthy place.
Yeah, I'd say like making compromises and being within a relationship in a good way, and letting the other person that you are with know that you like them.
Wow. Well, our next story involves somebody liking something, but it backfired.
That's a good transition.
According to the NewYorkPost.com, teen gets USB cable stuck in penis in backfired attempt to measure length.
Well, I mean, was he trying to get the length of his urethra or his penis?
He backed up his hard drive and his penis.
So a UK teen had to undergo emergency surgery after a bananas attempt to measure his manhood, and it resulted in him getting a USB cable lodged in his urethra. Ooh, that's not good.
The phallic fiasco reportedly began after an unnamed 15-year-old boy was triggered by sexual curiosity and inserted a USB wire into his urethra, per a wince-worthy study published in a medical journal called Urology Case Reports.
So the cable got stuck in his scrotum like an electronic catheter, and despite attempts to extract it himself, the USB cord became tangled so terribly that both ends were left hanging out of his wired willy. What?
The plugged up boy's parents drove him to the hospital after he began urinating blood.
Why not before?
I imagine he didn't tell them.
Why do they know that he's peeing blood then?
I'm sure he's like, Mom, Dad, I'm peeing blood. It's time to go to the hospital.
Just drop me off.
Just don't ask why. It's in the UK, so it's free. So it's not like he has to worry about a medical bill.
That's nice. Yeah, so x-rays revealed that there was a veritable Gordian knot of a USB wire inside the teenager, which required surgeons to make an incision and yank it out. I'm not going to tell you where they made an incision because it's not that kind of show.
You can read the article in our show notes if you'd like to find out.
I mean, he was only there for a day, but this kind of, I want to have kids. I've said that.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff is why I'm afraid of having a little boy.
Yeah. What is the fascination with their little peepees?
Like, be fascinated with your little peepee. Like, fine. I'm not going to body shame or make anyone or even shame sex, but like, let's wait on any sort of kind of non-vanilla stuff, I think. Wait until you're out of my house.
Well,
stick to what's standard.
Yeah.
Like, do I hate it? Do I hate knowing that would be going on in the other room constantly? Like, from what I understand, that's just incessantly happening at all times with young boys. Like, that's upsetting to know, but it's when they come out and they go, Mom, Dad, I have a USB cable stuck. Then that's when it's like, why did we do it? Why are we paying for this kid to eat and their rent? And we work so hard, and this is how they repay us. It's just one of my fears as becoming a parent. What can I say?
Well, it's called sounding, is the strange proclivity of inserting foreign bodies into one's urethra. We covered a story previously about a man who got 6 kidney beans lodged in his urethra during a bizarre attempt at sexual gratification.
Yeah. So these people are not time travelers.
No.
Oh, you know who would probably like to travel back in time?
The subject of our next story, for sure.
According to HuffPost.com, alleged pizza roll pooper apprehended after Oklahoma grocery store incident. We back in Oklahoma, baby.
We back.
So a lamented shopper, Shirley Wright Johnson, had a crappy shopping experience on Wednesday. She was picking up some items from the grocery store in Moore, Oklahoma, with her 2 daughters, reached for a bag of frozen pizza roll, and quickly discovered that there was shit all over the pizza roll bag, like poopy.
She said, I picked up a bag of pizza rolls and there's literally shit. Human shit. Excuse my language.
Apparently someone pooped in the freezer and then took a bag of Totino's pizza rolls. HuffPost made sure to put the brand in there and then covered the mess.
Is this like one of those subliminal advertising memes? Like,
Yeah, like in really, really fine print at the top, it says this story is an ad for a competing pizza roll. This is, I guess, since I'm already talking about my fears of having children, this is another one of my fears. So this woman obviously washed her hands immediately, like scrubbed, like whatever. And sure, she's driving home and she probably still feels dirty. They don't make water hot enough to clean off the feeling of touching accidental shit. But she's got her 2 fucking kids in the back. saying, "Mom, I can smell it. I can smell it." And she has to tell them, "I can smell it too, baby." This is in the article. That's another thing I don't want to deal with. Like, I want to have babies, but like, if they're in the back lying, of course they're lying. Saying, "I can smell it," because you know that kids are gonna lie. They're like, they just experienced something traumatic. They don't know how to deal with it. They're gonna fucking lie. They're not over it yet. "I can still smell it." It's like, no, you can't. Stop it.
We'll never talk about this one again.
I mean, like, I read that and I just like, I felt myself just in a minivan clutching a steering wheel, like mad.
100%.
Like, just being like, I could drive off a cliff. No one would know.
Jesus.
No one would know why, but I could do it. That's what would go through my head.
Well, the Moore police, using surveillance video from the scene of the crime, flushed out a man they identified as a person of interest. He was booked into Cleveland County Detention Center on unrelated charges while poop probe continues, according to KFOR.
This guy also has been reported of taking pictures of women in the grocery store. So, yeah.
The opposite of good vibes, I would say.
I would also say that our next story is the opposite of good vibes, despite this guy's attempts.
According to the avclub.com, Texas man cited by police for walking around Storm dressed as Michael Myers.
A Galveston lawyer explained that he was just trying to bring positive vibes to the community.
Don't get me started on vibes. On Monday, Galveston, Texas, prepared for the arrival of Hurricane Nicholas. A lawyer decided to amp up an atmosphere of dread with a little bit more by throwing on a Michael Myers costume and walking along the beach holding a fake knife. Despite this being a straightforwardly cool thing to do, the lawyer was quickly slapped with handcuffs and cited for disorderly conduct.
So there's footage of this guy. His name is Mark Metzger III, he's like strolling down the beach and then staring at onlookers and pointing a bloody knife at them. And he thought that it was a performance to make people happy.
He told ABC 13 he wanted to find a little bit of positivity in the gloomy doom of 2021.
He not seen Halloween? That's not a positive movie.
I guess some people out there just don't have a sense of humor, you know? And you can't please them all, he said.
Like, my dude, there's a hurricane that's gonna like flood and probably fuck up a lot of people's shit. And you're like, your way of cheering people up is like, oh, I'm gonna dress up as everyone's favorite serial killer. And this is gonna brighten people's days and definitely not scare them half to death and think that I'm a time traveler.
Well, he said after his arrest that he felt like a scene out of Scooby-Doo after they handcuffed me and pulled off the mask. Like, I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for those meddling Karens, you know?
This guy's got jokes.
He's in good spirits. He's arrested, but he's in good spirits.
He wanted to dress up like a serial killer in order to restore our faith in humanity through humor. Still fuzzy on what was illegal about my actions. I mean, he is a lawyer.
That's true. And he said, if I had to do it again, I absolutely would.
That just goes to show that being arrested teaches nobody anything. I was driving down the street a couple days ago, and there was a man who was walking down the street with one of those like one-time use, like peel off like white face masks, like to hydrate.
Uh-huh.
Which, if you've ever put one of those on, I mean, you take a picture for your friends and be like, look how fucking awful I look. So to see someone walking down the street with that flapping on their face was a little frightening and kind of does, it kind of looks like Michael Myers, I think.
Yeah. Sheet masks are a lie. I hate to break it, but they don't do anything to add hydration. It is a big scam.
Yeah, it's just put a wet paper towel over your face.
Yeah, you might as well with some hyaluronic acid, which I think is also a scam. But
you know what? It's fun though.
It's fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, Cass, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
It's time for the dumpster fire of the week. So everybody's been talking about the Amazon documentary Lulu Rich,
including you.
Including me. I watched all 4 parts and
It was your hoarding last week, right?
I hoarded it last week. I've listened to follow-up podcast about the documentary.
Oh, wow.
Including an interview with the directors who also did Fire Fraud, the documentary. Like you got to watch it. But according to womenshealthmag.com, one of the interesting things about it was the founders' children. So a lot of their children worked for them. They have 14 children total between the 2 of them, but not all of them are biological.
Which is fine.
It's
a lot, but it's fine.
Yes. 7 came from the first marriage that Deanne, the founder, had with Kenneth Neff Brady. So that's Kenny, Amelia, Nicole, and Jordan. They're biological.
You understand that they left a Brady bunch?
Yeah.
Get it? Because there's 7 of them and their fucking last name is Brady.
They then adopted 3 more from Romania in the 1990s.
And
then Mark had 4 children from his first wife, Susan Stidden. And so after his marriage to Deanne in 1998, that grew the family to 11.
So it's mentioned in Lulu Rich that Deanne and Mark adopted 2 brothers who were abandoned at age 6 and 7, plus another girl. These are the Romanian children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the girl named Anna, the boy named Mark. Later, Anna married Deanne's adopted son, Michael. So out of their 14 children total, 2 of them are married.
Is this in the doc?
Yes.
Fuck, I gotta watch this. This sounds juicy.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. And 7 of their children and other relatives later helped out with the business. Were any of them qualified? Absolutely not.
Well, I don't think that matters in a family business.
It's true. We got to start an MLM. If you want to start a trashy podcast of your own, pay us $19,000.
Yeah, but don't worry, because then you encourage others to start a trashy podcast of their own, and then you make money from them
starting, and then you pay us a little bit of that cut.
And here's what's great about it. You get international reach, you know, and if you get more than 100 reviews, we're going to give you a pink Mercedes.
100%. So it's a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we won't tell you about that pink Mercedes is that you have to lease it yourself. We'll give you a check. And if you don't maintain 100 reviews a month, you then have to pay for that pink Mercedes lease out of your own pocket.
Also, the license plate will say trash. Trash 1, trash 2, trash 3.
Trash 2.
Depends on how many people you can inspire to, you know, make their own trashy podcasts.
So that's what MLMs do, is like when you see people that are like, oh, I won a trip or I got the car. Basically, what they do is like, you have to take out a lease in your name. And if you lose your status during the course of that lease, you have to pay for it out of pocket. So it's not the glitz and glam. Like MLMs are predatory. There's only 13 layers. Like there's an MLM expert that talks in the documentary. Basically, after 13 layers, you've covered every person on earth. So there can only be so much upline and downline. They're predatory. 90-something% of people do not make money in MLMs according to the FTC filings. Like, it's insane.
For some reason, I thought LuLaRoe was Lululemon, but maybe I'm confused.
Lululemon is like a upscale yoga brand that sells like $140 leggings. Okay. LuLaRoe sells hideous print leggings at like a $30 price point.
And you can have parties. And you get to be your own boss.
And you get to be a girl boss.
So are any of these people getting arrested?
There are multiple lawsuits, but there has not been any arrest as of yet.
Like, is it illegal to start one of these?
MLMs are not illegal, multi-level marketing, as long as you're selling a product. But if a majority of your money comes from who you sign up to do the business, then you are a pyramid scheme, and those are illegal.
Oh.
But most MLMs, not all pyramid schemes are MLMs, but not all MLMs are pyramid schemes, but there is a big overlap, if that makes sense.
I guess.
So basically, the multi-level marketing is having an upline and a downline. But if you make the bulk of your money not by selling the product, but by recruiting others to sell the product, then you are a pyramid scheme. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Anyway, I gotta watch this.
You gotta watch it. It's wild. But the Stidham family, Mark and Diane, or Deanne, Mark and Deanne, who started LuLaRoe, their family has launched other MLMs. So it's not the only MLM that name is attached to.
Oh, so they just can't get enough.
They just can't get enough. It's pretty wild.
Wow.
Yeah. You got to watch the documentary. It's great. But two of the adopted siblings married each other. And so they have the same mom and dad.
It's not illegal, but...
And they didn't grow up together, but it's still, it makes you shake your head.
It's just a fold in this weird story.
Yes.
I would like to meet a family someday that has 14 kids that I could trust and that doesn't have a weird story attached to it. There's some show on TLC right now about like a big ass like cult family.
Are you talking Sister Wives? Or are you talking the D'Arcos? The black family or the white family?
I think it's Welcome to Plathville.
Oh, yeah. That's its own weird corner of the internet earth. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone recommended that to me and I was like, wow, that TLC, man. Like, TLC is trashy.
Oh, fully. I worship it as a network.
Sure.
Are you hoarding anything this week?
Yeah, I am. I am hoarding if you can find it in your TikTok algorithm. Otherwise, like, you can find these online. But I'm hoarding, like, DIY crafting right now for Halloween decorations.
Ooh, okay. Fun.
I feel like I have a hot glue gun, and for my friend's little like surprise bachelorette party, I made glitter wine glasses, which I didn't like. I mean, it's so easy to do. It's just one of those things that you don't think that you can do. And I did it, and it was all like Dollar Tree stuff plus like Mod Podge. And I was like, okay, do I love crafts now? And so all these things have been coming up in my feed and like spooky things. And like, this is like the first Halloween where my partner and I live together. And there is a part of me that wants to like, I said he's out of town this weekend. Like, I kind of want him to come home to a haunted house, but I know I can't do that yet. Like it's like literally like still September, like relax. But I want to try all these fun things and just go like super hard, as I prepare for Christmas, which I always want to go super hard for. And all of these things will help me as I continue to become more and more of an introvert post-COVID. What are you hoarding?
Well, I want to add to that. And I'm a fake little pumpkin gal. I bought velvet pumpkins
from Target, bitch.
Yes.
You think I don't have 7 of them on my mantle right now?
Okay, good. Okay, checking in, making sure that you're aware. But I've become a little pumpkin girl, and I never thought I would see the day. But I am decorating seasonally now.
I love it.
But what I'm hoarding is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, so good.
So good. This last season, they truly address police brutality in the face. And it's like, oh, it's hard to have a feel-good show about cops right now. And they take that on. And the writing is just like really sharp. It's really good.
Yeah, if you haven't ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine and you're looking for something to binge, like, that show is really, really fucking funny and just easy to watch. I think I watched like a few seasons within the span of a month about a couple years ago. I haven't caught up to like the newer seasons, but it's probably going to be one of those shows. I have a problem where I just like to start them completely from the beginning if I don't go all the way through. So there's a lot of things that I've seen the first or second season like multiple times, but I definitely, now that it's ended or ending, I think it just ended officially after like 8 seasons, I definitely want to go back and watch it because it's just really, really fucking funny.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very funny. Captain Holt, Terry Crews, Andre Bombardner. I'm butchering his last name. Like the cast is very funny.
Stephanie Beatrice, Andy Samberg. Oh, what's his
Joe
name?
Latruglio.
Yes, Joe Latruglio. Yeah, like
Yeah, it's a banger, y'all.
Chelsea Peretti is in most of it, and then she
Uh-huh.
leaves. It's just good. You got to watch it.
Gotta watch it. Are you throwing anything away?
I'm throwing something out that I'm passionate about. Why the fuck are there mosquitoes in my car?
In your car?
Okay, I don't know if these are mosquitoes or what kind of like little flying bug. It's not like I got food in my car, like for once, like, but I feel like something is occurring in my parking garage. And I was driving and I'm like, there's fucking bugs in here. And I'm like, not a lot, just like 2, enough to bug me while I'm driving. And then the past couple of days, I'm like swatting at my ankles because I'm bit. Like, there's mosquitoes in my fucking car. And then I talked to my partner about it. He's like, oh yeah, it's crazy. Like, I have them too. What the fuck?
Yeah. What's happening in your ecosystem?
You don't have that? No one else gets them?
I haven't noticed an uptick in the buggery. No.
Damn it.
Are you
I was
being
hoping
haunted?
it was common.
No. Are you being haunted?
What?
You know how like bugs always happen when people are being haunted,
No.
Oh, well. We must watch different horror movies.
Cool. Good to know that I'm going to carry that through my weekend alone.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
Like, surely we couldn't just explain it by the fact that it's hot outside. It's definitely that I'm being haunted. I'm going to post signs on all my neighbors' doors being like, do you guys have mosquitoes in your car?
Are you being
Just
haunted?
Circle Y or N.
I am an ordained minister. Maybe I could perform an exorcism.
Do they grant exorcism privileges from the Universal Church of Life or whatever? Whatever lets you marry 2 people.
I'll look into it.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that. I'm down to hang out, but I don't know if I want to do that other part. What are you throwing out?
People that are rude to their nail technicians.
Oh.
Like, there's no place for that. Like, they're overworked. They're probably underpaid. Be gracious and tip well and do not be rude. I got my nails done Thursday night and I was just like a little miffed. I was a little put off by how some of the people were treating the staff.
Wow.
And just a reminder, tip well. That is a luxury service.
And apologize when your legs are prickly and hairy.
Oh, mine were so hairy. I was like, my bad.
I'm trying to grow my hair out right now, so that I shave it just shave it like a winter coat, like right before my friend's wedding next week. And I have a pedicure scheduled for tomorrow. And I'm like, should I shave before that? But because it's like, this is like almost 2 weeks in the making right now.
Oh my God.
But I'm like, no, I need to stick to my plan so that, because it just like when it's longer, it comes off cleaner and like I don't miss a spot because it's like so obvious, And like, God forbid, like that I shave my legs today and then this is the one time that it takes my hair, over 6 hours to start growing again. And then it's like really small when I try to shave it before the wedding and I cut myself. Like the stakes are too high. So I'm going to have to just kind of deal out an apology to the person doing my pedicure and be like, look, girl, like you're wearing gloves. You shouldn't feel it. You got to look at it. But like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well,
I'm also sorry for perpetuating gender stereotypes. Women, you don't have to shave your legs. It's just my personal preference.
Yeah, that's fair. Besides getting a pedicure, where can the people find you?
At Cass Cardenas on Instagram and on Twitter, on the Nooner Podcast, on the Smodcast Network. And the movie that I was in, that I was like, oh, it's a Toronto Film Festival. Turns out you got to be in Canada to watch that shit online. So sorry if you went and looked. But that shit is coming out in theaters in New York and LA on November 5th and going to be available online on November 9th. And I will remind you again when we get closer, if you want to watch me in a movie, where do they find you?
At Iconic Erica Curry, and you'll find me watching the movie Cassandra was in, Violet, right?
Woo!
That's the name?
Yeah, that's it.
Oof. Okay. Oof. Oof. Just double checking. You can find me at Iconic Erica Curry. You can find me on Twitter at GillyGal, GILLYGAL. You can find this podcast at Trashy Trashy Pod on Instagram and on Twitter, where we post daily about our stories and other trashy things. And you can always find us at www.trashytrashypodcast.com. Hey, Cass.
What's going on, girl?
Stay garbage.
You stay garbage, girl.
I will. Bye-bye.
Bye.